Well, you know, one of my favorite shows is HGTV, and I love Monday nights because you know what they're talking about.
Tiny houses.
You are correct.
But all tiny houses are not created equal, but they're different in different ways in
Uh-huh.
regards to square footage. But this is so unique because not only is it tiny, but it's the type of housing that it's made from. So let's just take a look. So as I promised, I'm here in one of the tiny homes, and I'm here with the developer, the man with the great ideas, Jeff Underhill. Jeff, welcome to Urban Lifestyles.
Well, thank you, Denise. I'm glad you said that. I hope my family sees that. And you attribute the great ideas to me. I know they'll argue with that, but this was actually a team effort. I have a partner who suggested cabooses back in the very early going because Steve and John Booker, they were partners in this for years. There used to be actually a rail spur that fed the property, so they thought this would be a great way to pay tribute to that.
Now, when you said the property, I know there's two components to this. There was an old mill here, and then, of course, any place you have manufacturing, you had railroads going through. So share a little bit about that.
Well, I love history, and part of the fun in developing this project was learning the rich history of this area. This was, back in the late 1800s, was the edge of town. And so you can think in terms today of J-Town Industrial Park or out at Riverport, how those areas are outside the city area here. Louisville, well, this in the late 1800s was the edge of town. And so this was ripe for building factories out here. And this area was actually settled by German immigrants.
So thus, Germantown?
Germantown, Schnitzelburg, and I guess you can assume who lived in Paristown.
So when did the mill close down, and when did you all come up with the idea for the renovation?
Well, there have been many lives here over time. The original factory that was located here in 1888 was the Louisville Cotton Mill, and they made Kentucky denim here. So they would bring in bales of cotton and they would convert it to denim material. The rail was vital to that, but there were also two other mills that were built within that same proximity of time, the Hope Mill on Kentucky and the Bradford Mill over on Oak Street.
Wow.
So as far as closing, there were actually several lives here. In the 1930s, 1940s, this was home to the international headquarters for Fincastle Fabrics, and hence the name Finn's Restaurant, because that's where their office was located. Then I understand, and I'm probably leaving some out, but in the 60s and 70s, Sealy Posturepedic mattresses were made here, and then later the Louisville Antique Mall was centered here.
And that's what I remember, the other building, and we'll show that about the Antique Mall. So those buildings over there are what type of units? Are they like condos or what?
At this point in time, they are apartments, and we hope that down the road we can convert them to condominiums.
Simply fabulous from what I've seen on the outside. Now, this is a hot commodity tiny home, so share about this.
Well, the intention here originally was we have the back side of the property, frankly, next to railroad tracks, and it was something that we were concerned, how can we put a good face on this side? And we thought about putting in a berm, putting in landscaping, building a wall. But the idea of cabooses came up again, is that we can actually put people in spaces, we can rent some unique space, and we can have added security by having activity in here.
I love it. So let's talk about this space, which is actually a caboose, a car. So what is the square footage of living space here?
Well, 300 square feet here within the caboose, and then you add in the loft, it makes it 350. So very small space, really less, about half of what the next smallest unit is within the mill. However, we think a very unique housing opportunity.
What were some of the features and design that went into it to maximize living for a person?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, that these were all three shipped from Kansas City. And so the travel to get them here from Kansas City to Louisville was easier than the final mile from where they were unloaded to get them over here, because they had to take it through city traffic, raise the traffic lights, put them on big trucks. But the uniqueness of these cabooses is that they were so much per the original, with the skin that's in them, all of the metal that wrapped these. So the shape of these is very much intact as we got them. Now we've come in and put all new utilities in here, all new appliances, new cabinets to make them comfortable. All the original wood floors were fabulous to refinish.
I'm fascinated by the floors.
The way this was originally laid out, the crew that would operate the train, they would sit in these bench seats up above, and there was an equivalent on this side, which we now located down here as a little dinette area, but then we put a loft bed in up here. In the back is a den or a primary bedroom.
And this is sort of the bathroom area. Here's a nice shower.
And your bathroom space within here. So think in terms of a
Oh,
houseboat.
wonderful.
It is small space. It is fun space. It's unique. If you don't want to have a lot to clean, a lot to keep up, a lot to furnish, this is a good ticket.